Hello everyone, welcome to the Code Angle YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show us how to build a simple blog application by making use of a tool called Caisy as well as Next.js. So if you are wondering what Caisy is a cloud-based content management tool that empowers companies as well as developers to create digital content and then deploy it easily on the internet. Caisy has a user-friendly interface and offers many useful features such as content scheduling, localization, easy building using a component system. Caisy also provides multi-tenancy features and also is a highly collaborative tool. With Caisy, users can create and store unlimited projects, structure them, and then switch between these projects in seconds. So let's quickly take a look at the pricing plan of Caisy. So if I click on the pricing button and then we get navigated to the pricing page, you can see you have different plans. You have the free forever plan, you have the starter plan, the growth plan, as well as the professional plan. So whatever plan suits your needs, you can do well to subscribe to that plan. But for the free plan, you can see it's provide enough functionalities for you to test what Caisy is all about. It has up to 100 gigabytes of traffic. It has 5,000 entries. You can add up to 3 users, and it has 1 million monthly API calls. So I think this is fair enough. So the starter plan is the upgrades to the free forever plan, and then you have the growth plan and then the professional plan. If you are interested in any of these plans, feel free to check the description box in the YouTube video. I have an affiliate link there as well as a promo code you can use to get some sort of discount. So the affiliate link allows me to get a certain percentage, so make sure you use it if you're interested in using Caisy. So moving on, I'm going to scroll down. So in the footer, you can see we have different options though, but the one I'm interested in is the developer docs. So I'm going to click on developer docs and we get navigated to the developer docs page. Inside of this page, you can see if you scroll down, Caisy can be integrated with modern JavaScript frameworks such as Next.js, Svelte, Vue.js, as well as Astro. And I'm sure it could work with React and Angular as well. Using Caisy's external API, as you can see on the left hand side, you can see Caisy provides different options like APIs, external APIs, internal APIs. So these are things I'm going to look into in later videos. So you can be on the lookout for that. But for today's video, we're just going to make use of an headless CMS approach, making use of Caisy and Next.js. Before we get started, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like as well as subscribe so as to enable the YouTube algorithm to favor this channel. So thank you very much as you do that, and with that, let's get started. So to get started, I'm going to head back to the Caisy landing page, which is caisy.io, and I'm going to click on this try it, you like it button we have right here. It's going to open another tab and you have the input field where you need to enter your work email address. So I'm going to enter my email address to create a new account. Then I'm going to click on continue with email, and then it's going to start processing that email account. And next up, it will ask us to insert a code which is going to get sent to our email address. So what I'm going to do next is to navigate to my email address, get this particular code, copy the code, and then paste it in the input box we have right here, and then click on continue with code. Next up, we need to enter a strong password. So I'm just going to quickly do that, and then I'm going to repeat the password and then click on continue. So we get asked for further details. So we need to enter our first name as well as my last name, which is that, and then the company name. I'm just going to call this company the name of my YouTube channel, which is the Code Angle. And then I'm going to choose what describes my current work situation. So I'm going to say I work in-house at a company, and then I'm going to choose my job title, which is a developer. Then I'm going to click continue, and then we get navigated to the onboarding section. So I'm going to click on let's start. So as you can see, we have 3 stages. We have the organization, the project templates, as well as the project details. For the name of our first organization we want to create, so I'm going to call this Blogger because we are trying to create a blog. So probably we can just name the organization Blogger, and then we have to upload an image in form of a logo. So I'm going to click on upload image, and what I'm going to use is the icon or the logo for my YouTube channel because that's the only logo I have right here. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to click on continue. Then we move to the next stage, which is the project template. So we have 3 options right here. We have the blank project option, we have the simple blog, and then we have the multilingual marketing site. So I want this integration to be as simple as possible, so I'm going to go with the simple blog template. So let me select that, and then you see the features it has. The stack for the simple blog is Next.js. It can be integrated with React, Tailwind CSS and TypeScript. All I need to do is click on add to project, and then we get moved to the next step, which is the project details. We need to give this project a name. So we're going to name this project Tech Blogs. So I think Tech Blogs suits the intention we have for this project, which is to write blogs concerning different technologies. So I'm going to upload another image, but this time around I'm still going to stick with the CodeAngle YouTube channel logo, and then with that we can continue to the next step. So I'm going to click on the continue button, and I think with this we can now get navigated to the dashboard of Caisy. So as you can see, it says spread has successfully been created. Everything is 100%. So I can just click on proceed to the project and we get navigated to this dashboard. I want to make this as simple as possible, so I'm just going to skip all the cards we have right here. But if you are following along with this tutorial, you can continue to click on next to see the different sections of this dashboard. But like I said, I want to keep this as simple as possible, so I'm just going to click on skip, and then I'm going to click on skip all thoughts, because I'm not really interested in thoughts. I've gone through it, and for what we want to do, which is to create a simple headless CMS block, we don't need to go through all the thoughts. So what we need to do actually is just to follow these 7 steps we have right here. As you can see, if I fold that particular drop down, you can see the 7 steps. The first step is to clone the repository, copy the project ID, create and copy the API key, run the templates, change the document and publish it, set up preview and preview changes. So these are all the steps we're going to follow for this project. So with that, we can get started with the first step, which says we should clone the repository. So what I'm going to do is to click on this link we have right here, and it navigates us to GitHub, and we can see the project. This is just the templates, because when we're trying to create the project at the beginning, you can see that it asks us to select a template, like a simple block template. This is the GitHub repo for that template. So we need to clone this particular repo and run it locally on our machine for us to see how the UI looks, and then make changes to the blog application. So to do that, I'm going to click on this drop down, and then I'm going to copy this particular repo link, and then in my project directory, probably I can go to documents, and then I can click on YouTube and create a new folder. So I'm just going to click this folder, and I'm going to call this folder Tech Blogs, because that's the name of the project. And then I'm going to enter this particular directory and then open my terminal right there. So within the terminal, I'm going to clone that particular GitHub repo inside of this directory, and to do that, I'm just going to run the command git clone, and then I'm going to paste the URL of that git repo, and the project gets cloned right there. And as you can see, it's 100% done. And then I'm going to close this particular terminal and then open the starter template nextblock sample directory, and then open the terminal right there. And I'm going to open everything up in Visual Studio Code, and the command to do that is code space and dots, as we have it right there. So I'm going to click on enter, and with that, I think we've successfully followed the first step of the direction we have right here, which is to clone the repo. Before we proceed to the next step, we need to set up the .env file, which I'm gonna head back to Visual Studio Code. Let's see if we have that file right there. It says .env.sample, so we need to rename it to .env.local. So I'm just gonna remove the sample and then instead have this as local. And as you can see in this particular file, we need to paste in the Caisy project ID and the Caisy API key. This is something we're gonna do very soon. So with the first step done, I'm gonna click on all sets, continue button, and that particular step is now marked as checked, and you can see we have 6 steps left to go. So now the next step is to configure the project ID. And to do that, we need to go to the project settings. So I'm just going to quickly do that. And in the project settings, we need to click on development and then click on create API key. And we need to enter the API key name. So I'm just going to enter the name as Tech Blogs. And I'm going to click on get my code. And you can see the API key. So we need to copy the code, which I just did. Head back to the .env.local file and then replace the Caisy API key with the newly created one in the dashboard. And for the project ID, I'm going to head back to the dashboard, click on previews, click on general settings, and then scroll down. You can see this is where the project ID is. So all I need to do is just to create the copy the project ID and then head back to Visual Studio Code and paste in the project ID. and then we can save. That's all we need to do in this particular step. So let's head back to our get started page, and I'm going to click on the next step, which is to create and copy the API key, which is just what we just did. So we've gotten the API key and we've also copied the project ID. So we just did those two steps a moment ago. So I'm going to go to the next step, which says run the template. So to run the template locally, if I head straight to the Next.js project, which we have right here, if I go to the package.json file, you see the different dependencies we have. We have the Caisy rich text React renderer. We have the GraphQL because the API is structured through GraphQL, and also we have Next and React. So all this is present in this Next.js project. So to run this project, we have the script object, and within the script object, you can see this dev right here. So that means when we want to run this project, we can just run npm run dev. But if I run that npm run dev command, I think we're gonna get an error because we haven't installed all the packages. We need to run npm install. But to be sure I'm right, let me just run npm run dev and let's see the result of that. As you can see, we get an error, next not found. So we need to run the command npm install. So let me just clear that and just run npm install to install all the packages in the dev dependencies, and then we can now run npm run dev for the project to start and load up in the browser. So as you can see, all the dependencies have been installed successfully. So we can now start up the server by running npm run dev, and this time around I believe there wouldn't be any form of error. As you can see, it says server started on port 3000. So I'm just going to open this port in the browser, and then let's open the browser, and you can see it's currently compiling. So once it's finished compiling, then we can see the boilerplate of this simple blog application. Presto. So as you can see, we have the template showing right here, and we already have some content right here previewing already. You can see all these are already in the Caisy dashboard. When we go under the content tab, which we'll do in the next step, you see all these contents there. So this is, like I said, an headless blog. So all the content is controlled from the dashboard while it is being rendered from Next.js into the browser. So this is the ideal headless scenario. So I think we're done for this step. But before we proceed, we don't need this particular toast message we have right here. So it says, great job, you have successfully run the Caisy template. Click on this link to complete the onboarding step. I'm just going to click on the link as it suggests, and then we get navigated back to the landing page and you can see we have 3 steps left to go, which is to change a document and publish it, to set up preview, and then the preview the changes. So before we proceed to those steps, I want to get rid of this particular toast message. So I'm just going to copy this particular text right here, head straight to the next.js code, and then search for that particular component, which is in the toast.csx file. This is a TypeScript file. I'm going to create an empty div and then comment the rest of the div right here, showing the toast message. So with that, we can now save, and then made a mistake there. We can now save and then wait for the project to compile once more. I think the compilation is successful, and you can see the toast message has disappeared, and then we'll just have our navbar, which has the home page, the about page, as well as the contact page. So all the 3 pages are intact. So let's head back to the home page, and then with this we can head back to the Caisy dashboard to implement the next step, which says we should play around with the document. So what I'm going to do is to right click on this button and then open a new tab, and inside this new tab you can see the entire document in the dashboard that contains all the pages. You have the 404 page, and you have when you look at these headings, you have the title, the blueprint, the updated dates, and then the author as well as the status. So the blueprint determines the type of content we are trying to create. That is, for instance, if it's a blog article, the blueprint shows this. This is something that it has already been created as a boilerplate for this project. So if I want to edit anything, all I need to do is just to select the one for the article, which is represented with blog article, which you can also select right here. If you select the blog article button, it's going to show only blogs content. As you can see right here, all the blog content on the page are showing. So let's say we want to edit one of the articles we already have published live. Probably let's say this particular one that says how to hire the right people. I can just head back to the dashboard, and as you can see, this is the title right here. So I'm going to click on that, and then you have different schema for this particular blog post. You have the title, you have the slug, you have the author. So what we need to edit is just the body of that particular article, and I'm just going to open it up by clicking on the read more button. As you can see, it starts with as a business owner or manager. So let's just make a slight modification here by probably removing the owner, and I'm gonna head back here. So let's look for that particular body of the posts that has that particular text. So as a business owner or manager, so I'm just gonna remove manager. So all we have left is just as a business owner, and I'm gonna click on publish. As you can see, it's now published, and what we can do is to head back to the local hosts and then refresh the page. As you can see, it's reflecting live. We have the manager part removed from the blog post, so anything we do in this particular dashboard gets reflected right here, and this allows us to be able to make changes on the fly directly from this particular dashboard, which is cool. I think we've been able to complete that. So the next step is set up the preview. So the preview determines how we want the article to show. For instance, if you go to localhost, you can see currently what we have here is /blog/hire. If we want the slug to be showing on the URL title, that's where the preview comes in. So we can go to that particular directory by going to settings. So quickly, I'm going to go to settings. You can see on the left hand of the sidebar panel, if I click on settings, and then it says we should navigate to developments and then previews. So I'm going to select developments and previews. So we can always create a new preview. We can just create a new preview and call it blog, and then add a blueprint to preview. Probably I'm gonna select the blog article and the preview URL. I can just copy what we have right here, which is localhost 3000/blog/document_build.slug. So I'm just gonna paste that right here. I think that's the format this blog already takes, because it takes the slug and adds it to the URL. The slug we have right here is the hire. So with this, the preview is synced and we don't need to do anything else. I can just click back on the preview and you can see we have the preview created. And let's see if this affects our blog. Let me refresh. So our blog still reflects the way it is. But if I select a different format, it's going to affect the way the blog displays. So essentially, if you go through this side note we have right here, the preview allows us to set up a production environment as well as a draft environment. So it's helpful in that manner. When you make changes and you want to preview the changes before going live, this is where the preview comes in. So the final step is the preview changes. For instance, if you make a change to the document and you want to check it out, you just need to click on the eye icon or eye button you have right here. So where can we find this? So if you head back to the dashboard, you click on content, it takes us right here, and I select the blog article and probably let's scroll down and select one of the articles. Let's say we select this particular article that says the perfect meeting, and then let's say we scroll down and make a specific change. Let's check if we have this particular article in our local hosts. So if I scroll down, I think this is it right here, the perfect meeting. And if I click on read more, we can just make a change. Probably we can add something to the text, and I'm gonna head back to the document, and this particular first paragraph, I can just add a particular word to it. So I can just say meetings are a vital and important part of any business. So if I click on publish and then I click on this eye icon right here, we're going to be able to preview it without heading to the local hosts tab we have right here. So it takes us there automatically. As you can see, after clicking on the eye icon, it takes us to that particular blog post. But the change we made is not even in the blog post, it's in the preview section. So for instance, if I click on the home section and I scroll down, you can see it says meetings are a vital and important part. So which is the change we have right here under the description part. So meetings are a vital and important part. So that change is reflected here. And so with all the 7 steps followed step by step with no steps skipped, we can now proceed to deploy this simple blog application using a platform called Vercel. So quickly, I'm going to head straight to Vercel.com, and as you can see, Vercel is a cloud platform as a service company that can be used to develop, preview, and ship front-end applications such as Next.js, which is used to build a simple blog application, and this can be done for free. So all you need to do is just to create an account if you don't have one, or log in. I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in with my GitHub account, which I've done numerous times, and it's going to get opened in the dashboard, as you can see, and then you can see an overview of all the previous applications I've deployed using Vercel. But what I'm going to do right now is, for us to deploy our application, we need to click on the add new button, and I'm going to select projects. So Vercel makes use of Git. Our project needs to be connected to a Git repository so that we can import it directly from Git. So to do that, I'm going to head back to the project folder, and I'm going to get rid of this .git file so that we can create a totally new Git repository for our simple block application. So I'm just going to delete that, and then in the terminal, I'm going to stop the server. So I'm going to clear the terminal. So I'm going to run git init to initialize a new Git repository, and then next up, I'm going to run git add all to add everything we've done. But before I do that, I need to check if our .env.local file is included in the .git ignore file, so that we don't push our API keys and all the important details to the Git repository. As you can see, it's included in the git ignore file, which is cool. So I'm just going to click on git add, and it will add everything we've done so far. Next up, we need to commit all our changes. I can just run git commit -m, and this is our first commit, so I'm just going to write first commit. And next up, I need to head straight to my GitHub account and create a new GitHub repository, give it a name. So I'm just going to say Caisy blog, and then we can make it a public or private. Let me just choose private. In fact, let's make it public. I'm going to select public, and then I'm going to click on create repository, and then we get a set of instructions which you can follow. I'm already following this instruction. I've run the git init, I've run the git commit. So next command I'm going to run is the git remote command. So I'm just going to run that in the terminal by pasting it right here, and then finally I'm going to push to git by running git push -u origin. Our remote branch is master, so it's going to be origin master. And recently I changed my system, so that's why it's asking me for my username. So I'm just going to enter my username, and then I'm going to enter the password. And as you can see, everything gets deployed to GitHub. There are no form of error. So let me just refresh our newly created repository, and you can see it reflects, and now we can continue our deployment on Vercel. So I'm going to refresh this particular Vercel application so that it can see our latest blog. So as you can see, it's right here, Caisy blog. I'm going to click on import, and what we need to do here is to set up the environment variables. So to do that, I'm going to head back to VS Code, and I'm going to head straight to our environment files. So the first key in the environment file is the Caisy project ID, and then we have the details for that. So I'm going to copy that as well. So head straight to the browser, paste in Caisy project ID, paste in the details for that, then click on add. So next thing is the Caisy API key. So I'm going to copy that as well. So quickly, let's paste that in. So I think that's all we need to do. I'm going to click on add, and those are the two environmental variables we need to add. And with that, I can just click on deploy, and then we can wait for Vercel to deploy our application. If it's successful, we get provided with a live link. If it's not successful, we need to investigate the error. So let's wait for that to complete. And as you can see, our deployment is complete. You can already see the preview of the blog, and what I'm going to click on is continue to dashboard. It takes us to our dashboard, and we can visit the site by clicking on visit. And as you can see, we have a live link provided for us, which is caisyblog.vercel.app, and you can see we have all the blogs showing right here. So even if we make any changes in our Caisy dashboard, it's still going to reflect here. So, and anything we make within our Next.js application, as long as we push it live, is going to also reflect right here in our application deployed live on Vercel. So I think that's all for this tutorial. So the next thing I want to do with Caisy is to work with the Caisy API using either React or Vue.js, and then let's see how we can integrate the Caisy API into one of these two front-end frameworks and then create our own custom design, because this design is a starter template provided by Caisy. So over time, let's see if we can create our own design and then integrate the blog using the Caisy API, which is powered by GraphQL. So that will be in the next tutorial, so be on the lookout for that one. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments section. If not, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you click on the like and the subscribe button, and with that, I'll see you again in the next